The man born to be king. Once upon a time there lived a king who was so powerful, wealthy, and peace-loving. He ruled his empire for many years. One day the king organized a festival in his empire. There he noticed a gray-haired old man who seemed different from others. By seeing the old man, king felt to meet him, so the man was called in. Without losing his time, the king asked him what he thought about the king. In reply, the old man prophesied that the king would not have a son to rule over his empire after him. The king felt sad and the man was gone. After many days, the king had gone for hunting in the forest with his soldiers. There the king lost his ways and for one night took shelter in shepherd's cottage. King in his dream saw that the shepherd's baby boy would rule his kingdom one day. The king felt threatened and asked one of his servants to carry the baby in a wooden box and float it in the river water. On reaching his empire, he was happy to hear that he was blessed with a child. Reflecting back to shepherd's cottage, he felt ashamed of his deeds about shepherd's baby boy. After 14 years, the king visited a miller. There the king was served by the handsome boy. Being touched by his service, the king asked the miller about his son. Miller, being a simple person, narrated that Michael was not his son. 14 years ago, he was found in a wooden box by the riverside by his sister. From then on, he was with them. King felt all the more threatened this time. To keep the miller in his trust, the king made false promise to educate Michael and take him in his empire. And in return, he paid huge amount of gold to the miller. Thus, Michael was taken away to be killed for the second time. The servant took him to a lonely place and stabbed him. After 7 years, when the daughter of the king, Princess Cecily, had grown up, the monks had visited the king for a supper. There, the king, seeing Michael alive, felt shocked. In order to kill him again, he offered promotion for Michael to be his guard. The monks were happy and asked him to remain with the king. After 10 days, the king wrote a letter and sent Michael to the castle of Rose. King asked the letter to be handed over to the in charge of the castle of Rose. When Michael reached the castle, in charge of the castle was not present, and so he happened to meet the Princess Cecily, the daughter of the king. So he handed over the letter to the princess. Cecily saw the letter was written by her father, so she opened it and read it. She was deeply touched by the letter and disturbed. And so she looked for some ways to save the young man. For in the letter it was stated to kill him immediately after he reached the place. Without wasting her time, she thought of a plan. She took a paper and changed the letter and asked the man to give it to the in charge. When the in charge came, he handed over the letter. In charge immediately organized a marriage party and married off both of them, as per the letter sent by the king. King, on receiving the letter, was very angry at the same time, happy also, for the fate of the young man saved him and made him the king. After being attempted to be killed by the king so many times, his fate helped him to be where he is supposed to be.